Hey guys, what's going on? Arman here, and I just came from Yarablur, another time I've gone recently, and every time I go, there's a bigger breakthrough. There's more stories, more bad things that I hear, and from all this pain and suffering, I finally I'm channeling this into something productive for our nation. And so you know, there's a lot of theoreticians, a lot of people talking theory in Armenia. Oh, we should have been doing this, or these people are bad, or there's a lot of people talking theory. Um, but I want to be very practical. I want to be very practical. Actually, I think there's very few practical doers left in Armenia, and I wanna talk about this framework that I am gonna use to prioritize my time and effort and of people around me to better serve our nation, to have the highest ROI for us to end up winning. Okay, why did I say that there's a lot of people talking theory? Because this is somewhat of a theory, or somewhat of a talking a little bit about core values and what matters, what I think matters for Armenia, and what matters to me. But this is going to be very practical. You will see how. Okay, um, I want it to be totally opposite from everybody else just talking theory, doing nothing about it. Okay, so I want to go over explaining each of the core values. I'll explain the national interest concept first, explain the core values under that, and then we'll go into practical stuff. And by the way, this can change. I mean, it's the 1st of August because it's already in the night, 2023. I'm sure this will change, but based on all this time that's this being boiled in my head, this is the first version, and we'll go from there. So after all this brief introduction, let me tell you about the Armenia core values of national interest and why this is important. Um, we all can support projects in Armenia. We all can support projects. We can support everything from the smallest thing to the biggest thing for Armenia, honestly. But there are some things that if we invest our time, resources, money, whatever it is, it will have a exponential impact versus some other things. If you invest, and I have nothing against, planting trees. I plant trees in Armenia, both personally, both donating, and both paying other people to plant for me. Um, but if you plant a tree, that's hey, you plant a tree. But if you teach someone how to actually shoot and defend themselves and defend their nation, that's a whole different level of impact. Or if you teach someone that they have to be the best, absolute best in their field and strive for absolute excellence in their field, that's a totally different outcome than planting a tree, although both are important, right? But that's what Armenia core values of national interest means. What are those that are national interests, and how do we tie them into both for profits and non-profits? Okay, I am going to tie these core values into for profit and non-profit, but if one of these our current scenario, both are like for example in military readiness or economic superiority, if one of those, both the for-profit and non-profit, they suck, then, for example, I'm going to give you a very real example. Okay, what is economic superiority? I mean, it's very self-explanatory. We have to have a great economy because honestly, the better the economy, the better everything else flows, as long as there is no corruption. which this is a separate topic, but the more money, technically, um, the more resources to defend ourselves, to grow, to make things better. Okay. One of the ways that money comes through Armenia, one of the ways that our money comes through Armenia is real estate. Now, then, therefore, a real estate company in Armenia is of national interest for them to do a good job or a great job or an amazing job. If a real estate company, and also not only on the private side, on the public side, but if a real estate company or if most Armenian real estate companies in Armenia suck at selling real estate, they are directly damaging a national interest. If all the real estate companies in Armenia do a terrible job at servicing people from the diaspora, people that are not Armenians that come to invest, this, that, the other, if they all do a horrible job, which I don't know how close that is to reality or not, that is for me yet to explore. You guys can tell me. But if they do a horrible job, then they're actually not only damaging themselves and their pockets, which they'll probably make money, but they could be making so much more. But it's not only that, like if we had great real estate companies in Armenia doing great marketing, having a great service, then therefore we would increase the money inflow into the country, which would directly help Armenia, right? And so that's what I wanted to mean on the private side. On the public side, a real estate company can suck or they can do a great job. If they do a great job, that's great for them, but that's also great for the country. But at the same time, there might be a lot of issues on the public side of things. Like, for example, the process of acquiring real estate might be too long. The process of citizenship or residency or this or that, the other, right? Those are all components that affect economic superiority. But with going back to what I want to focus on, very practical, is I want to focus on the core value of economic superiority. I want to focus on helping Armenian companies that bring economic wealth to Armenia flourish. Okay, so again, what is this? This is real estate companies. This is tech companies that hire a lot of people in Armenia. This is just business owners that decide to relocate their business, and they have a international staff, and they decide to move all their staff to Armenia, like it has happened during Russia, the Russia-Ukraine war. So I'll put the different things here that we can have, but those are the things that I will focus on, and anyone that agrees with this concept should focus on helping on the economic superiority side. Okay, so this is going to be real estate companies. This is going to be helping, again, companies relocate. It's going to be, what else did I say? Real estate companies that want to relocate. This could be like investors, like not, people want to buy in real estate, but there's also people that want to invest. They want to invest in companies. They want to invest in real estate. They want to invest in assets, whatever that is, right? They want to invest in building infrastructure, right? So, um, so, so for the economic superiority core value, what are the next steps? The next steps are identifying. Um, the next steps are identifying the best real estate companies, the best companies that help businesses relocate, the best companies that help people invest in Armenia, this, that, the other, etc., etc. If you guys have ideas of other companies, and I want to mostly focus on private versus public enterprise, because I forget what was the number. It's like 9 or 10 times private companies are more efficient at asset or capital allocation. So you can't really tell the government, or they're going to take a long time to do something you want them to do. But if you help a real estate company in Armenia sell more, they're going to be interested in that because they're going to make more money. But then it's also, again, at the end of the day, going to help the country. Okay, so what are the next steps on the economic superiority core value, which is a national interest core value? Well, it's going to be researching these top companies, top real estate companies, top relocation companies, top companies that offer investment advice or guidance, or all of it in Armenia. It's going to be researching them and then helping them, me, my team, you guys, helping them become better. And again, if they become better, more investment is coming through Armenia, and more um, our nation flourishes. Okay, here's the problem, right? I think I think there is a lot of, I'm in marketing, guys. Like, I'm in marketing, and so this drives me crazy. There is in greatness mindset, in economic superiority, in cultural preservation, in military readiness, there is so much poor marketing being done. Real estate companies are sucking at promoting real estate in Armenia, and that's the truth. And I say it because my heart hurts, because I know if we would be better, that would mean more money for my country. So I'm saying this with a broken heart. What's the reason? I think they don't know better. I think they just look around and say, okay, well, this is what they're doing. This guys, this is what they're doing. Okay, we'll just do whatever everybody else is doing, and nothing really happens, And so I think there's tons and tons of innovation that can happen, which again will lead to more sales, which will lead to better status for our country. Okay, so economic superiority, that is it. Like, bringing businesses here, making an amazing ecosystem for businesses to relocate. Um, Everywhere from the diaspora, starting businesses here. Whatever it takes, right? Um, Whatever it takes to build wealth in, another economic superiority thing that I'm actually working on. We're helping. Um, And this is a very tiny example, but again, I hope this becomes something bigger. There is a company in Armenia called Arvest, KTM, and they teach regular people how to become a professional welder, certified professional welder. When someone does that, their income goes from low end to middle, middle upper revenue in Armenia. And so that's also economic superiority. Okay, so those are all different projects, and what we have to do here is just prioritize. I think real estate, I think it's one that it's very easy to help, and it's a real estate company. We've dealt with a bunch of real estate companies. We know what they're doing wrong, what they're doing right, how we can help. I think also we have to think about here the 80-20, right? So, like, we have to think about what is the 80-20 here? Like, what are the 80%? What are the 20% of companies, businesses, sectors within this niche, and any of these niches that we focus on this 20% of the sub niche? I think real estate in Armenia probably is like, this is the investment one, and then this is real estate. I think real estate probably is within the 20% that if we get it to flourish, it will help everything else. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe there's something else. Maybe it's companies relocating. That's why I need your guys' feedback. But we need to make this happen. We need to focus on the 20% that is going to yield 80% of the results, and on everyone. Okay, so that's economic superiority in a nutshell. And again, I just want to reiterate this: there's so much sucking in marketing for a lot of these things, and I want to, one of my core values and passions is fixing this. And I know I can't do it alone, but I hope this is the beginning of fixing this. I hope you guys can see my vision, and I hope you can help me execute this so we can have all of us a better country. That's the goal. Okay, so I'll go with greatness mindset. Next, why did I put greatness mindset here? Because I think mindset is everything. I think if every Armenian thought, how do I, if they are the best, either a surgeon, they become the best surgeon in the world. If every Armenian did that, we probably would have solved also most of the problems, right? One of the ways we solve a lot of the problems is having the most money than everyone. Another way is having the best of everything. We have the best politicians or best leaders. I don't even want to say politicians, but best leaders. We have the best salespeople. We have the best scientists. We have the best technology people. We have the best engineers. If we have all the best in our country or in our whole nation across the world, um, it's going to be pretty hard to defeat us again or mess with us. So it's first like personal excellence. Okay, so personal excellence is so many things. Personal excellence. My favorite quotes from one of my mentors, Andy Frisella, is personal excellence is the ultimate rebellion. If we were all, and I'm talking to the gentlemen that are 50 years old, 60 years old, gentlemen, and all the ladies out there. Um, if all the people that age exercise routinely, um, educated themselves routinely, were the best at their jobs and strive for excellence at their jobs, took care of their health, and same for young people. Like if we all did that, if we all became the best version of ourselves, we have young people that are fat, that smoke, that don't train, that have their finances in shambles. Like what the hell, right? Like that has to be fixed. That has to be fixed. Everyone, me included, we all have to see, hey, what can I improve personally? For me, it's probably my health. It's my finances. There's all like there's lots. Believe me, of room to improve for myself, but also a lot for a lot of you guys, and also for a lot of our nation. Like I don't like I went to the gym, and I'm so happy to see people that are 40, 60, 50, 60s going to the gym in Armenia. But it's like, it's not common. It's not cool. They haven't seen it before. And I applaud those people that go. But like everybody else is like, I don't think it's a cultural thing, sadly, of these people going to the gym, training, taking care of their body. And so like that has to be fixed. That has to be fixed. Like they didn't see it from their grandpas. So they're not doing it. And so, first of all, we have to be the ones that break this, but we also have to encourage. We also have to encourage, our elders to do that as well. Okay, so personal excellence is one side of the thing. Okay, but that's not all of it. Like that's a huge part of it, right? But it's not all of it. Uh, and I'm sure the more I think about this, the more I come up with things. But another thing, guys, is the greatness mindset of, hey, know your history. Like, we used to be Armenia the Great. Armenia the Great was from um, water to water, this great kingdom. We ruled the whole sphere of where we were at. And that was us. And what have we become today, right? But here's the thing. Most people don't know the history. I think the more people know their history, the more they will be empowered to go back to our great roots. Just like Trump says, make America great again, we have to make Armenia great again, starting with the mindset of maybe I should rename this Make Armenia Great Again, which, by the way, I've created materials around that. But maybe we, like we have to make Armenia great again by making ourselves great again, by making us think in terms of greatness again. So not only ourselves, but also we have to read people like Najde. We have to understand all these values and all these mindset, all this wisdom, ancient Armenian wisdom that has been accumulated, and push away all the European, American. It's not even American. I would say it's not really American. I would say Western propaganda that's been pushed on our throats. And so I think it's also teaching men to be men. It's also teaching women to be women, and not be dissuaded with the current propaganda machine. This is funny because we have to have our own. Like, if you don't have here Armenian heroes you look up to, and if you're not reminded of the Armenian heroes that ever existed, how are you supposed to get inspired to do great things for your nation and for yourself? Like, if you are a scientist and you have all these amazing Armenian scientists that you can take a look at every day and understand, hey, this Armenian scientist did this, that, the other. Like, you're gonna be more likely to do great stuff. But if you don't know, like, if you don't even know what Armenian means, what being Armenian means, like, how are you supposed to do something great for your nation or for yourself? Like, you don't, because you don't know who you are. You don't know the privilege of being Armenian. Like, you don't know both the privilege and the responsibility of being Armenian. You don't know that, and I think a lot of people have to be taught that, especially the young generation. Um, the old generation, this is one of those things that I think we can change, but it's going to take time. So anyway, it's not only that; um, it's also Armenian greatness mindset, and that and that is all about teaching people, showing them the great people we've had, the great lessons they've shared with us while they were there. It's inspiring and reinvigorating the Armenian traditional and the Armenian mindset that has made us special throughout millennia. Okay, so that's separate from personal excellence. It's almost like remembering who you are in a good way, so you can do great stuff for Armenia. Okay, so that's the greatness mindset. I think mindset is huge. I think if you think that everybody, we're all brothers and sisters, and this is very controversial. I don't care. If you think that everybody is their brothers, we're all brothers and sisters with the Turks and all that stuff. Well, listen, you think you're brothers and sisters with Turks, and the Turks for 300 years or whatever it is have been trying to kill you, your family, your grandparents. And so, how does that work? How does that work that they're teaching you, your kids, and everybody in the world that everybody else is teaching you to be friends, while they're teaching their kids to annihilate or exterminate Armenians? Like, how does that work? How does that work? How does that work when Erdogan says to everyone, "Oh, you got to have 5 kids," and they're educating them to keep the culture. This is all in cultural preservation. That's kind of the next step. Like, on our end, it's becoming cool or whatever to like, it's just becoming cool to do all this stuff, and like, just be friends with everyone that's trying to kill you. Anyway, uh, that's the recap on greatness mindset. Like, that's it. Okay. Cultural preservation. Okay, I mean military readiness is very obvious, but I want to go on cultural preservation since we kind of touched on it. Okay, cultural preservation is ultimately a lot of things. Cultural preservation is, language preservation, is keeping the Armenian culture, is keeping the Armenian language, is keeping the Armenian heritage, is keeping the Armenian genetics, is keeping the Armenian blood, is keeping the Armenian mindset, is keeping everything Armenian. Okay, and how are our enemies trying to destroy us? Right, they're trying to make our military weak. They're trying to make us into pessimists, into apathetic people. It's very powerful, right? They're trying to make us apathetic. They're trying to make us apathetic, and they're winning. They're winning. How many people care about the 120,000 people um, sitting in Artsakh right now? Like, how many people care? How many people show up to the United Nations embassy and say something about it? Like, how many people post about it on social media if they're outside? Like, it's compared to the amount of Armenians we are, not a lot, So, like, what is the enemy going to try us to be? To be weak, dumb, uh, and to disappear. How are they going to make us disappear? By killing us, probably, but also by incentivizing us to marry outside of our culture. There's like 2.98 million Armenians in the world. It's not like Spain. There's like 40 million Spanish people. There is like, I don't know, hundreds of millions of Chinese and or billions and hundreds of millions of Indians. There's like 2.9 million Armenians in Armenia. And so if I was the enemy, I would say, oh yeah, it's totally okay to. We had a genocide of 1.5 million people happened 100 years ago. Great, they were very close to finishing the job, right? Well, another way for our enemies to finish the job is just to make to promote and make okay that we marry outside of our culture. I mean, if everybody in Armenia today marries outside of their culture, and the Turks married within each other and made 5 kids, as Erdogan says, in 100 years, there is no Armenia left. Guaranteed. Guaranteed there is no Armenia left. Guaranteed. It's not like we're 100 million Armenians. We're not. We're just 2.9. Out of those 2.9, how many are young? How many can have kids? How many can continue the the nation? I don't know. I probably should know those numbers, but we are doing a horrible job at current cultural preservation. It's becoming cool to marry outside of your culture, and I don't know, if we were 100 million, maybe it would be okay. Like, but we're not 100 million. But like, and by the way, I can bet anyone that decide, oh, but that doesn't matter. Well, if you really care about Armenia and care about the language and the history and the culture, you will, because you will marry within your culture. Because if you don't, I can guarantee you, maybe not your sons, but your grandsons will not speak Armenian. And if I make that bet with 100 people, I'll win most of them. That's the truth. Oh yeah, my grandpa was Armenian, and so what? And so what? Do you speak Armenian? No. Do you know what being Armenian is like? No. What So it's very sad. Anyway, they are making cool, marrying us out of our culture, and also, so this is part of cultural preservation. What else is part of cultural preservation? So I'm gonna put um, whatever. I don't care. By the way, if I type this wrong, let me know. Marrying Armenian is one. Uh, Part of culture preservation is also, um, the language, the culture, what am I, traditions, like language, culture, traditions, like keeping all those alive, right? if you um, if you don't preserve these components of culture, um, you're also prone to disappearing, uh, or your nation is prone to disappearing, right? So, how does this apply to business again, right? So, by the way, I don't think we talked about business on this side, which I want to talk about. But how does culture preservation slash Marian Armenian language, culture, tradition, how does this apply to business, and how can we help businesses that are doing this in terms of national interest, help them? How can we help them do more good stuff for Armenia? So, marrying Armenian. Well, there's lots of apps that it's Armenian dating, this, that, the other. The Armenian dating apps suck. That's the truth. If I'm getting someone's feelings hurt, I don't care. It's the truth. I've both talked to ladies, Armenian ladies, single ladies, just researching, talking about how they feel about the apps. Man, this is absolutely, they're doing a total horrible job. These Armenian dating companies, there's Armenian dating apps, which by the way should be marriage apps, not dating apps. But anyway, they're doing a horrible job. And if they do a horrible job, then less Armenians get married with each other, which leads to cultural devastation instead of preservation. It leads to cultural devastation, which leads to us not having a country. So this all goes back to the apps. This all goes back to the Armenian dating websites, services, Armenian, again, it should be marriage, services like that. So the goal is to help the one that's willing to get helped, and help them really do a great job, and help them get couples married, so then they can make Armenian babies, and we can have a great Armenia. I mean, it's that simple. And I think a lot of these companies, the companies here that are real estate, the companies here that have apps, the companies here, they all think they're just in business. No, you're not just in business. You're in business in a national interest category, meaning that if you do a great job, you're doing a great job for the nation. And if you suck, which most of you guys suck, then you're freaking hurting the country. You're hurting the country. And you could argue that any Armenian businessman that is not doing a great job in their own business, whether it's national interest or not, is hurting their country. And I think that's a valid point. I don't know. I think that's a valid point. But more than anything, if you're in this national interest, field, like, what the hell? Wake the hell up! Wake the hell up! We need you to deliver, because this is Armenian lives, and the future of Armenia depends on you. Okay, so marrying Armenian, there's Armenian dating apps, whatever, and there should be services more than apps. I don't even know if I believe in the apps at all. Maybe it's actually a matchmaker service, what actually ends up working versus these apps that are just for casual crap. I don't know. Probably, maybe I'm wrong. Whatever. I don't know there, honestly. Now, part of cultural preservation is language, culture, and traditions. Okay, there are companies that teach Armenian. They're mainly, let's just say, teach Armenian. There's others that organize events, Armenian traditions, and workshops, and this, that, the other. That's also part of it. But the thing that comes here is the Armenian language learning apps and service companies that teach Armenian to kids and stuff like that. So again, Armenian language learning apps and language learning companies, if they do a bad job at capturing people and at helping them learn Armenian, learn their heritage, use Armenian, they're doing Armenia a disservice. They're doing our homeland a disservice, so they need to be helped. So therefore, they do a better job and they help more Armenians. and we go from there. Like, can you imagine? I just want you to cast a vision. Can you imagine there is this amazing Armenian marriage service that matches up thousands of couples per year? Can you imagine? No, not even millions, like thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands. I don't even know if we have hundreds of thousands, but let's just say tens of thousands. That would be huge for our nation. Like, that would be huge. That would be huge. And what's happening right now is horrible. Um, what's happening right now is horrible. I mean, there's zero, there's zero education. It also comes from parents. There is zero education. There is zero. Anyway, there's a terrible job being done on this side, and so people do whatever they want or they think they want, and it ends up damaging the country, the nation. So anyway, can you imagine a language learning app that teaches hundreds of thousands or tens of thousands of kids per year? They learn Armenian, they speak Armenian, and now they can interact and go back to Armenia and talk to other people in Armenian. How amazing that would be, right? Can you imagine we have this amazing real estate company or this amazing set of real estate companies that make it so easy, so clear, so amazing to understand and invest in Armenia and get these great returns and get this great service and all this stuff. And there's, hundreds or thousands or hundreds of thousands of people investing back into the country because it's such great companies. And imagine that there is such a level of education and such level of social media content in the greatness mindset space, so that Armenians are incentivized. There's virtual workshops from the top Armenian aerospace engineer that teaches all the Armenian aerospace students around the world how to become the best. There is the best Armenian marketer in the world, marketers jumping on calls and helping everybody that's an Armenian that needs marketing help, and they help them become the best. We are taught, our history by top PhD historians, which I know a couple of them, and it inspires the nation. So I think I'm done with cultural preservation. In the terms of like greatness mindset, personal excellence, and this Armenian greatness mindset, I think here, if we had to tie it to some sort of a for-profit business, this would be like a media company. This would be a media company that promotes Armenian greatness and personal excellence. I think that's what I'm thinking of. And maybe there is a better solution. You guys let me know. Okay? But that's what comes to mind. Okay, so that is the bit. And as you guys can see, like this is very practical. Okay, after this, what do we need to do? We need to go and search the top real estate companies in Armenia and talk to them, see how we can partner with them, help them become amazing, and that will help the nation. That's very specific. We're not talking theory. Oh no, Armenia should have done this, Kocharan this, Pashinyan this. Screw all that crap. Here's what's very specific that you guys can do. And by the way, some of you guys have an amazing top real estate company in the States. You don't need me to go and reach out to one of the companies in Armenia and actually partner with them, and you help the national interests of Armenia that way. This is no one is. I don't need to do this. You can use this to do it on your own, and we can all collaborate to do a better job, which is probably the best solution. Okay, so that's the recap. And this media company should have monetization set up in place and all this stuff, so that it can keep pushing out content for Armenia and keep educating the nation and stuff like that. So those are the three core values: greatness mindset, economic superiority. Which this could be tied to this one. This could be tied to this one. They're all interlaced. I'm sure I can expand later. But let's go to military readiness. I mean, this one is obvious. Right? So we've learned that we gotta be ready. We gotta be able to protect ourselves. We gotta be ready to fight back. And I don't know how we haven't learned these lessons since the genocide. Honestly, Gagarin said in 1929, so almost 100 years ago, he said, 90 years ago, 100 years ago, he said, Armenians nowadays are concerned more with making peace and making friends versus defending and building actual stuff to defend themselves and preparing for war. I mean, I'm paraphrasing, but that's what he was saying. And that's still the case, which is freaking horrible. It's horrible. Like, what the hell? What the hell? Like, I mean, you guys have seen it in personal relationships. Like, the bully is gonna keep bullying. Like, what the hell, right? So anyway, I don't need to make my point further. Military readiness is absolute essential. How does this go to the for-profit / non-profit side, where we can actually turn this into something great, and a great for-profit or a great non-profit or a great combination of both, so that it helps the national readiness, so that it helps our nation because we're military ready. Anyone attacks, we got 100% of the population fighting back. How amazing would that be? Like excluding kids and women that have to take care of the kids. Some women don't have to take care of kids, but like the ones that don't have to take care of the kids, plus everybody else, elderly, young men, older men, everybody's fucking going into war and crushing the enemy. So how amazing would that be, right? Again, I'm painting the vision here. Oh my God, it's 41 minutes, but this is so worth it. I'm so glad that I'm putting this into something that you guys can see my vision. I think I should have done this earlier, but how amazing would that be, guys? Like, how amazing would that be? Like, I mean, Israel is pretty close to that. I mean, both male and female go to the military. You know, um, everybody's everybody is a warrior there. So we can't really push the government to do a lot of things. We could, we could, and I think part of that is, again, greatness mindset, economic superiority, cultural preservation. Like, if we have great people coming back to Armenia, and we have great leadership, and we have great people that have resources, we can actually push some of the government policies that maybe are harder to change versus private companies, right? So anyway, that's a possibility. But talking very specifically, how do we develop military readiness? Okay, the concept here that I'm not an expert in this field, and honestly, there's probably better ideas. But what I'm thinking personally is, first, supporting military. I mean, this comes from Robert Torres, supporting supporting the creation of military companies that actually um, manufacture arms, manufacture defense systems, manufacture guns, manufacture tanks, manufacture whatever is needed. So supporting those companies, supporting them with marketing, supporting them with doors opening, supporting them with investment, supporting them with whatever. So this is first, like, that's the first thing. So, like, and that goes back to economic superiority. Yeah, maybe, right? Um, but this is basically development of private private privately owned military manufacturers, whatever it is, doesn't matter. So, like, actually helping and investing in companies like this, and we all know there is a lot of people that say they have this amazing they have this amazing thing that it's gonna, this amazing drone or this amazing technology that's gonna be amazing for Armenia, but There's a lot of people who talk, and there's very few people who walk the walk. Okay, so that's going to be part of the filtering. That's going to be part of us, all of us, actually looking into how do we how do looking into how do we actually vet them and support and get behind real companies with real amazing stuff to do. Part of my what I'm doing right now with this, and this is not a lot because I'm one person and I'm just getting started. But like for example, I'm featuring companies that do stuff for the military. I'm featuring companies that train the citizens how to self defend, how to shoot guns like azatas and stuff like that. So um, even you guys can help with not only investment, advisorship, um, resources, but you could also invest with your actual expertise, right? So, um, so that's one of them, right? So it's just helping companies, local companies in Armenia, flourish in the self-defense space. That's the first one. Um, second one is training the general population to be ready for war and to again to defend themselves, to defend other people they care about. And here's one magic realization I had to come. I came to myself. I've never shot a gun um, until my first time I shot a gun was in Armenia, was in Azatazan. And so that means that I learned to shoot thanks to these guys, thanks to this amazing place, Azatasen, this non-profit. You can learn more in another YouTube video that I have. But I learned to shoot an AK. I learned to shoot the sniper. Um, that was my first time. Then I came, I don't know, a couple weeks after. Then I came another time. Then I came another time. Every time I go, I feel more confident about defending myself, defending the people I care about, and defending the nation. If I, without before even shooting a gun, my level of certainty was minus 100. My level of certainty now is way higher. I don't know if I should say a number, but it is definitely higher, guys. Like I feel that the more I go, the more trained I am, the more I do this, the more, if needed be, I would step up and defend my nation. And I believe it's the same for everybody else. I truly believe that. And so the second one is going to be that it's going to be developing citizens, uh, developing warrior citizens, developing uh, whatever you know how developing um, soldiers, citizens, whatever. I don't care how you call it, but I think that's the second thing. That's again, guys, we're talking very practical stuff. We're talking about Armenian dating apps and how we're gonna make a better alternative to help with cultural preservation. We're talking about creating a new real estate company or helping existing ones to help with economic superiority. We're talking about creating a media company that promotes greatness and personal excellence so that it helps the national interest. We're talking about developing privately owned um, or crowd-funded, I don't know, whatever, military manufacturers so that we have military readiness so that we can defend our nation. We also talk about developing citizens, soldiers, citizens, whatever you want to call it. Um, and the way you do that is by supporting uh, places like Azatas and guys, there might be some other organizations you might heard of them. For now, the one I know personally is Azatazen. There might be others. You guys might know better than me. There's actually better options, better organizations. But the way you this is private side. This is public, more on the NGO side. But it doesn't need to be. Here's why. Um, Azatazen is the biggest open air shooting range. It's, you can shoot long range or mid range, mid to long range. Biggest facility in Armenia. Well, people come to get trained, to learn, but people come also to have fun. But they also are learning, and so turning this into a quote unquote business where people come and they learn to shoot guns, just like there is shooting range in the States. If this was more popular, if we had an amazing freaking company that, if Azatazen was 100 times bigger, um, this would be something, again, painting the big picture. This would be something where it would be common practice for young guys and everybody who wants to have a fun time, just like everybody goes to the cinema. It's going to be so Antunvat, so normal for people to go to this shooting range across Armenia and learn to shoot and practice shooting and practice drills and practice all that. It's going to be so normal if we do a great job. And this is one of them that I'm not frustrated with them as much as the other ones. I know they can do stuff, but I know that it's just they're already doing a great job. They can do so much better, honestly. But I'm very impressed so far with the operation. I'm a little bit biased as well, but they have a long way to go too. They're not perfect either. But if we get them to that point where it becomes just like going to the cinema, every Armenian goes to shoot on the weekends. Can you imagine that? Like, hey, hey, Armenia, your company, your citizens, 80% or 90% of your active fighting age citizens know how to shoot well. They're trained and they're ready for an occurrence. How powerful would that be? What is the actual number? I would need to ask these guys out. What is the actual number? Is it 20%? Is it 10%? Is it 5%? Is it 3%? Is it 1%? I hope it's not too of a low number, but it could be. But if we make it cool enough, we make it appealing enough, we make it, it would be huge for Armenia. So, guys, I think I've put everything into specific action items. I think we can take it from here, right? So, like, um, what are the focuses for? What are the core values that are gonna that are necessary for national interest to flourish? We have the greatness mindset, where we need to cultivate the Armenian greatness mindset. We need to cultivate personal excellence. This can be done through a media company, through publications, through all kinds of stuff. This would be either partnering with an existing one, creating a new one, whatever it is. How can we create economic superiority? And again, what is the 80-20 of all these? What is the 80-20 of all these? What is the 80-20 of this? What is the 80-20 of all these guys, right? What is the 80-20 of the economic superiority? Is it the real estate companies? Because the real estate is booming in Armenia. Everyone is building a building. Everyone is buying an apartment. Whatever it is, what is the 20% that's going to yield the 80% of the results, right? So next steps are, on the economic superiority side, is figure out what is the 20% that actually brings the money. If it is real estate, talk with existing real estate companies. If they don't want to collaborate in any of these guys, if not one of these companies doesn't want to collaborate, or none of them want to collaborate, screw them. The mission is more important than anything. Like, if they don't want to do this, we will create another company and do it ourselves with the right people, with the right core values, with the right intention. And you know what? The real estate company that has national interest, core values, is always, as long as they do a great job and actually do it, they all are always going to perform better than just someone who's trying to sell a home. Oh yeah, we're just trying to make a sales quota, versus, hey, I'm trying to sell these houses because I'm trying to bring more people back to Armenia, and I'm also trying to bring more money back to Armenia, so my country becomes wealthier, so my country becomes better. Like, which one is going to sell more, right? Cultural preservation, culture preservation, the fixing the Armenian dating landscape, fixing and improving the Armenian language and culture acquisition. Um, Companies, helping those companies. If those companies don't want to don't want to participate, we'll create a competitor, do a better job. That's okay, and there's so many experts, so many Armenian geniuses here in our nation, and in non-Armenian, that like any of these things, if they don't want to collaborate, we can find some amazing people to compete and actually do a better job. So if they don't want to help, no worries. We're gonna do this anyway. And finally, military readiness. Those are the two. Just helping companies develop manufacturing in-house so we can defend ourselves, and also developing the soldiers through shooting ranges, through businesses that promote people getting armed and getting and the self-defense and all that stuff. Guys, oh my God, I'm so happy to put this finally on paper somehow, or at least in some sort of a some sort of medium. This is my vision, guys. I'm sure this can be better. I'm sure this can be better. But this is a start. This is a start. I'm sure a year over from now, I will tweak some things because I've realized that maybe I'm on this path and this needs to be this other way. But I think the overall direction is the right direction. Our enemies, again, they want us pessimist. They want us indifferent. They want us to suck. They want our country to be in shambles, to have poverty. They want us to forget who we are. They want us to have no identity at all. They want us to dissolve. They want us to be weak. And so let's do the total opposite of that. That's all I'm saying. Let's do the total opposite. Let's become strong. Let's become excellent, each on our own fields, on our own levels of whatever it is that we're doing. Let's become wealthier. Let's become more cultured, and let's preserve our culture. That's all I'm saying at the end of the day. And I'm actually giving specific action items to do. So if you watch this, guys, if you've watched this 1 hour video, first I want to thank you. I want to thank you for taking the time. Let me know, my call to action is for you to email me or leave a comment. Actually, if you can message me on Instagram or leave a comment, or I would prefer you actually to DM me. But if not, if you can't, you don't find a way, just put a comment and tell me what do you think of this. And I'm very thankful for you taking the time to watch this and understand my vision and see what I really want to do to help my country and to help our country. The second thing I want you to do is, after you giving my feedback, is how can you help? How can you help in there? There is this, everyone here, I am in marketing. I could somewhat influence a lot of these, and a lot of marketers can. A lot of people in PR can. A lot of software people can. But there are some people that are freaking amazing at media. There are some people that are freaking amazing in military, and that's all they do. That's amazing. There's some amazing people that are the best linguists or the best, whatever, the best matchmakers, the best business people. They have to do what they have to do. They have an obligation. We all have an obligation to grow our companies, to be excellent in what we do, but also to help in whatever field that we are in, to help one of these fields, pick one, and get back to me with ideas on how you can specifically help. How you can specifically help. How you can specifically help with the greatness mindset, with the economic superiority, with the cultural preservation, with the military readiness. How can you specifically help? and let's build a database of, let's build a community, a database of amazing Armenians, amazing patriots that want a better Armenia, that are not going to get tired. They're not going to complain about others not doing anything. They're going to do as much as they can. They're going to keep pushing no matter what. And let's make Armenia great again, guys. Let's make Armenia great again. That's it. I will leave. This will probably be the main video on eternalarmenia.com. That's going to be where mostly everything is going to be related with me. But that's the goal, guys. The goal is eternal Armenia. It's eternal glory. It's eternal glory to Armenia. It's reaching excellence for our nation. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you. Love you guys. And I'd love to hear from you. Till next time.